Reddit Ask Me Anything. I am a face transplant recipient. Ask me anything. I was in a car accident that involved a truck hitting a utility pole. The driver got out, shut the door and pretty much left his girlfriend and I in the truck for dead. We eventually got out and from I was told by her and eyewitnesses, she was struck by one of the downed power lines. I got her off the downed line immediately. Then it struck and grounded me. 10,000 volts 7 amps for about 5 minutes. It entered my left leg, exited my right hand, and face. I also suffered a few major and minor blowouts. One on my left chest above my heart, left shoulder, and down the left arm. I had full thickness burns, past 3rd degree, on the majority of my face. I have a BKA, below knee amputation, on the left leg, and I lost 2 fingers on the right hand, ring and pinky. I was in the hospital 2.5 months after the accident and in and out for 4 more years. I've had 70-80 surgeries on my face and hand, the majority on my face. Add about 10-15 more on my leg. I never got the records on my leg, so that's more of a guess. Here are some photos from before and after. Does the facial hair grow normally? Yes. imgur.com link. Holy shit. My 15 years old son was shot with a 12 gauge shotgun in the face. He is 2 weeks post-op for the mandibular reconstruction. The doctors don't seem very confident in how to repair the mid-face area. We have thought about a transplant, but are worried about the long-term meds that go along with it. Also whether he will still look like himself, or someone else. What is your medication regimen like? 4 mg of Prograf-Bid, 1000 mg Celseptbid, 10 mg prednisone once day. I can GT him in contact with my team. You get to face, and you get to face, and you get to face. LOL, I need to make that into a meme. Have you had to reintroduce yourself to anyone that didn't recognize you? Quite the opposite. The electricity did a number on my memory and I see people all the time I used to know but can't remember. So I have to act like I do until I figure out who they are or someone tells me. Kind of sucks LOL. Do you have any problems forming new memories or does this just affect memories before your accident? Memories before. Missing parts of my childhood. Hey Mitch, remember you still owe me 20 quid. Hey, it's me, your childhood friend. So how do we know this is actually Mitch Hunter, and not just some guy with his face? Mayo, I see what you did there. Do you take anti-rejection drugs? If so, will this be for the rest of your life? Yes, and yes. Have you had any contact with the donor's family and friends? If so, how did they react to seeing you with their loved one's face? How has your family reacted to your new face? I met the family a few weeks after the transplant. Now when I go to Boston, we hang out, grab dinner and some drinks. The meeting was very emotional for all of us. My family still sees me as me. They have adapted quite well. Meeting the family must have been a strange experience for them. I assume you don't look exactly like he did due to skull structure, but it must have been a strange invasion of the body snatchers moment seeing his face but having a different personality and voice. I look nothing like the donor. They see me as me too. They don't see any resemblance to their son. I mean, at the end of the day it's just skin, isn't it? People get skin grafts from their leg onto their arm. Doesn't make them look like they have a leg coming out of their shoulder. What's the many-faced god like? I'm great. Valor Morgillis. Valor Doharis. Hereditor is no one. Well, since you are replying to everyone, I can only hope it's not too late. Nowhere in the old Ask Me Anything or here did I find anyone congratulating you on your bravery. I mean, you just went and saved a person's life with full awareness of what you are exposing yourself to. I'd like to believe I would do something like that in your place. But let's just say the set of people I'd do it for is much smaller and pretty much restricted to my special other. And that's only because she is sweet, you know. Like there are survivors. There are gangsters. There are academics. Well, she is just a sweet person and I would die if anything happened to her. But you did that, man. You actually went and did that. All the news talking about you as a victim. While in reality, rather than suffer, you acted against. How crazy is that? You first saved a person's life, then endured 5 minutes of agony, and are now doing all you can to reintegrate by looking good for your children. even though maybe you were okay with yourself the way you looked before the full transplant. Sometimes I get anxiety episodes because of how my hair looks or something stupid like that. I respect you and admire you, not as a guy who is not self-conscious though, but as a man who acts in given situations. To me, that is what ideally life should be all about, and people who do that, no matter how invisible, are so way beyond my league of egomaniacs. Best comment so far. Thanks a lot for that. People like you give hope for humanity. I have to say the result of the transplant is surprisingly good. I, like many others I'm sure, was aware of this procedure but didn't realize just how normal the result would be. Can you give us an overview of the transplant and healing process, and timelines for when you started to gain sensation and muscle control? Thanks. The transplant itself took a little over 14 hours, which involved debriding all my scarred tissue, then preparing the blood vessels and nerve endings to be attached to the new face. Once they placed the new face on, a lot of microsurgery was done, but surprisingly they only connected 3 nerve endings, both sides of my cheeks and forehead. The healing process took almost a year for it to finally settle in and look somewhat normal. I started gaining sensation about 6 days after the surgery. It was a tickling tingling sensation. Within the first year I had gained back about 50-60% sensation. Now 5 years out I have 100% sensation. The muscle control is pretty good. Still learning to use empty lips better though, as I can't smile big and show my teeth, but I can raise each eyebrow individually. Sorry if this is too personal, but how did the experience affect you mentally? The accident gave me PTSD. As far as the transplant, it gave me a lot of my confidence back. How annoying do you find face-off references on a scale of 1 to 10? I'm so used to them, it's like a meme to me now. So like 3. I assume there would have been a massive risk of infection. What did your medical team do to minimize this risk? Silly question. Was there any choice you had with the face transplant you received? Or did they just assign you a donor? Thanks so much. I took a lot of antibiotics and antivirals at first, until my immune system caught up. No, it's totally anonymous, but I have met his family. What was the process of requesting a face? Would they take a face off any random organ donor? I'm not quite a biologist, so I'm curious what exactly was transplanted? Just skin, or lips, nose, eyebrows and the other stuff? 2. Were you skeptical at first? I can see myself being skeptical if someone told me yet. So, if you want, we can patch someone's face on your head. Thanks for a great Ask Me Anything. PS. Amazing beard. Getting in contact with the team. Writing a letter explaining why I need a face transplant and why I would be a good candidate. No, there are age limits, up and down, but I'm unsure of the actual numbers. Plus they do blood typing and skin typing. All the soft tissue really. Muscles, ligaments, nerves, blood vessels, the whole face and part of my neck. So your eyebrows, nose, and lips came with it. But I also knew any result would be better than my previous appearance. IamA.com link. IamA.com link. Thank you. It's trimmed now. Did you, or are you still trying to get used the new look? Since you are literally wearing another person's face? I'm sorry if this sounds offensive. I look a lot like myself, to be honest. Your bone structure gives you your appearance. Don't worry about offending me. It's damn near impossible. I make fun of my shortcomings all the time. What happened to the girl you saved and her boyfriend? Are you still in touch with them? Her and I still talk. He tried to say I was driving when I was in a coma and supposed to die. So if I ever see him, well, like the Joe Pesci said in Casino, there's a lot of holes in the desert, and many problems are buried in those holes. That's ducked up, man. Is the woman still dating that douche? I can't imagine she went along with it. You look great. Your life sounds incredibly rewarding and thank you for serving. What was the first thing you laughed at post-op, and what did that feel like? The nurses came in to give me a sponge bath and it was cold, so my guy was shriveled. I said, ladies, don't get the wrong idea. It's very cold. One said, don't worry, we saw it at full mast when you were in our drug-induced coma and you don't have anything to worry about. Felt great, JPG. full mast when you were in a drug-induced coma. Think you found your fetish, my man. The transplant looks great. I'm still trying to figure out how you survived being shocked for that long. 5 minutes is a lifetime. Have the doctors ever discussed with you how you managed to get through it? I tell them my sense of humor got me through it all. Any pictures of you before the accident? IamA.com link. Bro, thank you for this. This really amazing insight. By the way, you have a magnificent beard. Hey man, excellent answers so far. Thanks for doing this. I wanted to ask about blinking and the eyelid function and how hard that was. You mentioned only 3 points being attached and only an amazing 6 days before you got feeling. Bit like, how did you sleep or get your eyelids to open when you were awake? I actually have my own original eyelids and they open and close normally. I have insomnia, so I rarely sleep. Why did it take 10 years after the accident for you to receive a face transplant? Were you that confident during that frame of time? Glad to know you can have a normal life again. Hero. It wasn't possible when I first got in the accident. I was when I drank LOL. Liquid courage. First of all, thanks so much for doing this Ask Me Anything. You look great. My question isn't about the face transplant. I'd love to hear more about what the MDMA therapy was like. If you don't mind talking about it, did you feel better overnight? Thank you. I had read a lot of research studies from overseas and talked to a few doctors from Switzerland. I didn't do mine with a real profession but my duck buddy at the time. We would drop X and I would talk about things I had buried and would never have brought up if not on MDMA and open to my psyche. I felt better after the first time but far from normal. We did it every weekend for a while. That sounds like a good friend you had. To sit and delve into your mind while high could potentially be a bit of a downer for them. That was cool you had someone to help you. And to duck you I guess too lol. Can I ask, is your current spouse and mother of your kids the same person you were with at the time of the accident? Or a new person who fell in love with you after the accident? I am single, never been married and no. She was a new girl who stole my heart then broke it. A duck in face transplant? What happened? You look normal. By the way, thanks for taking the time to do an Ask Me Anything. Googling my name will give you the full story or looking up my old Ask Me Anything. But to make a long story short, I was in a car accident. Driver hit a utility pole. The female passenger was struck by a down wire and I pulled her off and got blasted myself. 10k volt 7 amps for roughly 5 minutes. Majority of the electricity exited my face. Was taking your old face home an option? If so, did you? I would guess it'd be treated as medical waste, but could be quite a conversation starter if taxidermied. I ducking wish I'd have it in a jar. Do you regret saving the woman? Would you do it again? You mentioned PTSD. What are common things that trigger you and how do you cope? No, yes, being a passenger in a car of a person I don't know well or trust well. Bro, you made it to the end? You're a ducking beast. I'll cut you a deal. Smash like and subscribe for more curated content. It's free and that's a great price.